Have you ever noticed how we keep trying to push life with our belly? Strength from here, insist from there. And in the end, all that's left is frustration. The truth is that the more we try to control everything, the more we lose control of ourselves. It's like chasing the wind, exhausting, useless, and worse, it takes us away from what really matters. Maybe you're pushing yourself too hard, wanting everything to happen soon, in your own way and at your time. But what if I told you that there is another way? A lighter, smarter, and even more effective way to live. A path where you act with purpose, but without despair. Where you learn to let go of what you can't control and focus on what's really in your hands. Stoicism doesn't talk about turning a stone. It talks about finding balance in chaos, peace in the midst of waiting, and strength where there was anxiety before. And that's exactly what you're going to find out now. So hold on tight, because these ideas have the power to change not only your mind, but your rhythm of life. Ready to stop forcing what is not ready and start walking more wisely? You know that feeling that you need to be in control of everything all the time? As if it's not you pushing things, nothing happens. That's that. This has another name: anxiety disguised as responsibility. And no, that's not strength, it's exhaustion. The truth is that as much as we try to control the world, there are many things that simply do not depend on us. When you try to control what's out of your reach, you end up losing what could really be in your hands: your balance. Have you noticed how, in these attempts, the mind goes into overload? It's like you're trying to paddle against a current with a broken oar. And all this generates an internal charge that only feeds the fear of failure. Stoicism teaches that wisdom is not about having control, but knowing when to let go. Accept that certain things will happen in their time, and that your part is to act smartly, not desperation. It does not mean being passive, but learning to differentiate what is conscious action and what is just mental agitation. There is a difference between moving and thrashing. A good exercise is this: every time you feel like you're pushing something too hard, stop for a moment. Ask yourself, is this within my control, or am I trying to control the uncontrollable? This break will already bring you more clarity than hours of stress. And it will prevent you from throwing precious energy into battles that aren't even yours. When you let go of control of what doesn't depend on you, what is left is lightness. It's peace. And that's when you realize not controlling everything isn't losing power, it's using your energy in the right place. And that, my friend, is a kind of freedom that no one takes away from you. Now tell me, what if letting go was your true act of courage? How many times have you wanted something so strongly, you did everything to get it? And when you finally did you realize that it was not at all what you imagined? This happens because desire does not always know what is best for us. Sometimes what you call a meta is just a distraction with pretty packaging. The problem is not wanting it, it's clinging to the result as if life only had value if it works out. Attachment is a silent trap. It creates an illusion of control: if I do everything right, I'll get exactly what I want. But life does not work as a mathematical formula. It responds to time, to chance, to changes. And if you don't know how to deal with it, you'll live frustrated, as if you're always being sabotaged by fate. Stoicism teaches desire what depends on you, accept what does not depend on you. It is a wisdom that seems simple, but changes everything. When you excel but let go of attachment to the outcome, you discover a new way to win without destroying yourself in the process. Because sometimes, what didn't happen was exactly what protected you. A practical exercise. Once you've set a goal, write on the side, I do my best, but I'll take what comes. It seems small, but this phrase has the power to free you from anguish. Because as long as you are stuck with the idealized outcome, you will ignore the other doors that life may be opening. Sometimes, what you call a loss is just redirection. So the next time something doesn't turn out the way you expected, instead of freaking out or blaming yourself, take a breath and think, maybe this isn't what I wanted, but it might be just what I needed. What you let go doesn't hold you back. And that leaves you free to receive what is really yours. Water has a wisdom that most people ignore. It doesn't fight with obstacles, it gets around. If it hits a stone, it doesn't stop, it changes the path, but it keeps flowing. And look, she gets there. Living with this intelligence is what Stoicism calls active acceptance. It's not about conforming, it's about understanding that fighting against the inevitable is wasting twice energy and time. There are times when life doesn't ask you if you want to change. It changes. Then you have two options: resist and drown in frustration, or adapt consciously. Many people think that adapting is a sign of weakness, but the truth is that this is one of the greatest tests of strength. Flexibility is wisdom disguised as lightness. The secret is to learn to flow without losing direction. You don't have to become a robot that accepts everything quietly. But it also doesn't have to be a warrior who fights on all fronts. The balance is in discerning this: I can transform, that I need to go through. And that insight only comes when you slow down your thinking and listen to reality. Practice this on a daily basis. Missed an important appointment? Instead of cursing the traffic or blaming yourself for not leaving early, take a breath and think, it doesn't change anything to annoy me. How can I better handle what's left of my time? It sounds little, but this little mental turn saves you a ton of unnecessary stress. Flowing like water is an art. And like all art, it is learned with practice. Start small. The next time something goes off plan, instead of hardening, take a breath and say to yourself, I choose not to fight it. Gradually, you'll realize that life isn't about controlling every turn, but about navigating wisely. You know that regret that hits 5 minutes after an impulsive message, a cross response, or an impulse purchase? The impulse has this talent: it arrives before reflection and leaving the chaos. The problem is not feeling it, is acting without thinking. And, let's face it, everyone has fallen into this trap at some point in their lives. Impulse is like that friend who convinces you to mess up by saying it will work out, trust me, and then disappears when everything goes wrong. Reacting in the heat of the moment is almost always costly. In traffic, in an argument, or even in a click on a flash sale. The damage is not only material, it is emotional. It's stolen peace, frayed relationships, and wasted time. Stoicism teaches between the stimulus and the response, there is a space. It is in this space that his power lives. It is there that you choose whether to react or respond. And there is a giant difference between the two things. Reacting is automatic, responding is conscious. And that changes everything. A mature person is not one who does not feel anger, he is the one who chooses what to do with it. Want a simple practice to start mastering your impulses? Take a deep breath before you act. It sounds silly, but that 3-second pause can prevent 3 days of regret. And more. Right before you speak. Think before posting. Count to 10 before buying. Each decision thought out is a brick in the construction of your self-mastery. Remember, not everything you want now is the best for later. Impulse is noise. Wisdom is silence before action. And the more you exercise this, the more self-possessed you become. In the end, it's up to you to be guided by your impulses. Or lead your own life with intelligence. We don't suffer so much for what happens, but for what we expect it to happen. The expectation is a kind of movie that we create in our heads with a script, happy ending, and even a soundtrack. The problem is that, many times, reality does not watch this movie. And when she arrives with a different script, disappointment comes. Not because it was bad, but because it wasn't the way you imagined. Waiting too long is poison disguised as hope. Of course, it is good to dream, plan, have goals. But turning all of this into an emotional obligation is like holding a balloon for fear of it flying. You get tired trying to control what doesn't depend only on you. And the higher the expectation, the greater the fall when something goes off script. Stoicism invites you to live with less illusion and more presence. To understand that the world is not here to meet your mental scripts, but to teach. And often, the most valuable lessons come from the scenarios you would never have chosen. When you learn to reduce expectation, you increase your ability to adapt, and with it, your inner peace grows. A powerful exercise is to always ask, am I waiting for something or am I living what is here? If the answer is that you're living in the future, imagining too much, bring your attention back. Focus on the conversation you are having, the task you are doing, the moment you are going through. Peace is not in what you hope for, but in what you accept wisely. I'm not telling you to stop dreaming. But yes, so as not to turn the dream into an emotional prison. When you let go of expectation, what is left is lightness. It is the chance to be surprised by what it is, and not by what you idealized. And between us sometimes, what arrives is better than what you pushed so hard to happen. Have you ever tried to plant something and stared every day waiting for the plant to grow? It seems that nothing happens, right? But underground, where the eyes don't see, the root is forming. And it is precisely this invisible part that sustains everything that will appear later. It is the same with life. Its growth begins in the invisible, in the mind, in the attitude, in silent discipline. The problem is that we were trained to seek quick and visible results. If you can't post it on Instagram or show it to someone, it seems that it wasn't worth it. But true progress is rarely spectacular in the beginning. He is subtle, almost shy. But it is there, in small advances, that you really build yourself. Growth is more about consistency than applause. Stoicism teaches you to trust the process without needing an audience. To cultivate virtues such as patience, courage, and resilience even when no one is watching. Because, in the end, what sustains you in crises is not what you exhibit, it's what you built in silence. And the more solid your foundation is, the stronger it will be when growth appears. Try to recognize your own advances, even those that seem small. Did you sleep better? Did you react more calmly? Did you accomplish a simple goal? This is already growth. Don't despise the invisible just because it doesn't generate applause. Every step counts, especially the ones that only you notice. So even if it seems like nothing is changing, keep going. The root is firm, even if the flower has not yet been born. And remember, bamboo takes years growing underground before it appears. But when it appears, it grows meters in days. Trust your time will come. And when it arrives, it will be on a solid basis. We live in a generation that wants everything for yesterday. Fast result, immediate response, success in record time. But the truth that no one likes to hear is that those who rise too fast, without structure, also fall at the same speed. Haste is the enemy of maturation. And when you force a seed to grow early, what is born is fragile and it breaks at the first wind. Life has a rhythm, and when you try to rush the process, you pay dearly. Forced relationships, hasty decisions, poorly thought out deals. All this is a reflection of an anxiety that wants to skip stages. But each phase has a reason for existing. The preparation time may seem time-consuming, but it is what ensures that what comes after does not fall apart. Stoicism reminds us that patience is not passivity. It is wisdom in motion. It's about continuing to move forward, even if slowly, because you understand that the value is in the path, not just in the arrival. What is built in a hurry hardly resists reality. On the other hand, what is done calmly carries a silent force that lasts. Want a Hansen exercise? Every time you feel like rushing something, ask, "Am ready for this?" Or just impatient? After that, take a step, not a jump. Going back a bit, taking a breath, and revising your plan isn't wasting time, it's avoiding damage. You're not competing with anyone. The only fair comparison is to who you were yesterday. So the next time you feel the urgency screaming inside you, remember great works take time. And what arrives before the time, usually does not stay. You don't have to rush to live a life that has purpose. Because when time is respected, even delays become blessings in disguise. How many times have you postponed your life waiting for the right moment? That day when everything will be perfect, more time, more money, more willingness. But there's one piece of news that no one likes to hear: that moment may never come. And while you wait for the ideal scenario, life goes by. The gift is all you have. And it is more valuable than it seems. The future is just a concept. A plan, a possibility. But the now is real. It's where things happen, where you can act, transform, decide. And if you don't learn to value this moment, you will always live according to what has not yet happened. The problem is that the habit of procrastinating traps you in an illusion of control that only generates frustration. Stoicism speaks volumes about this living with presence. To be whole where you are. It's looking at what you have today with your flaws, your limits, but also with your opportunities and making the best of it. Because, in the end, the now is the only place where you can really change something. Try to apply this in a practical way. Stop a moment of your day and observe. No rush, no distractions. Where are you? Who are you with? What are you ignoring because you're expecting something better? Often, the beauty of the now is hidden in the simplest things and only appears to those who know how to look closely. Life won't wait for you to feel ready. And maybe now, as it is exactly what you need to take the next step. So, instead of waiting for the perfect life to start living, get started now. Because what you do today, even if small, builds what you hope for tomorrow. There are people who live so much in the when that they forget the while. When I graduate. When I get promoted. When it works out with so-and-so. But while the when doesn't arrive, life is happening and you're not there. Expectation puts you in a constant wait, as if happiness was always somewhere ahead, but never in the now. The problem is that no one lives in the future. And living waiting too long is like leaving your cell phone charging all your life and never using it. We get used to looking at what is missing, at what has not yet come, and forget to savor what has already arrived. But the best moments are often the ones that go unnoticed. A sincere conversation, a quiet coffee, an unexpected laugh. Stoic philosophy reminds us that mindfulness is a practice and a choice. It is to stop projecting the value of life at an unreachable point and start noticing what is already within reach. You don't need big events to experience something meaningful. Presence is what transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. But only those who slow down can see this. Want a Hansen exercise? Pick a moment of your day, any time that it can be. In line at the market, washing dishes, or waiting for transport. Instead of reaching for your phone or getting lost in thought, take a deep breath and be there. Notice what you see, hear, feel. This sounds simple, but it's a return to the present workout. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Life doesn't wait for you. And if you live only in expectation, you end up missing the spectacle that is happening before your eyes. So start asking yourself, what am I missing out on today? Because I'm too busy with what hasn't happened yet. Sometimes, what you're looking for is right at the moment you're ignoring that. Have you ever tried to open a door that was clearly locked, the more force you put in, the more you get frustrated and sometimes even hurt. Life is similar. There are times when forcing only creates wear, not advancement. The obsession with making something happen at any cost takes you away from lightness and brings you closer to exhaustion. And worse, it makes you confuse insistence with wisdom. There is a huge difference between persistence and stubbornness. To persist is to walk with awareness, learning from the signs. To stubbornly is to close your eyes, ignore what reality screams and keep pushing what is clearly not flowing. Stoicism invites us to listen more, to observe more, to understand that not every fight needs to be fought and that retreating, sometimes, is evolution. Going with the flow is not living on automatic. It is to act intelligently, without clinging desperately to each result. It is putting effort, yes, but also listening to the timing of things. And knowing how to stop when the path shows that this is no longer the place. This is not giving up. This is maturity. It's knowing that you don't have to win every battle, only the ones that make sense. Try to notice where in your life you are pushing too hard. A project, a relationship, a goal that doesn't work. And ask yourself, is this flowing or is it being pushed? Sometimes, what is missing is not more effort, it is letting go. It's making room for something new to arrive. Because only with your hands free can you receive what is really yours. In the end, lightness is not the absence of effort, it is the absence of unnecessary struggle. It is the wisdom of those who know that life has rhythm, and that beauty is in walking together with it, and not against it. So, breathe. Release. Follow. What is meant to be yours will not need to be forced. It will happen with the gentle force of what is at the right time. Now tell me, how long will you continue to try to control what does not depend on you? How many times will you still insist on forcing doors that clearly do not open? Maybe what's missing in your life isn't more effort, but more confidence in the timing of things. Because when you stop fighting reality, you start living more lightly, and that's priceless. Everything you've heard here is not distant theory. It is daily practice. It is conscious breathing. It is pause before the reaction. It is presence in the now. And the question that remains is, what are you going to do with it? Will you go back to the cycle of anxiety and control? Or will you start, today, to walk with more wisdom and less resistance? Remember, life doesn't happen when everything is perfect. It happens now. In the midst of chaos, in the silence of your thoughts, in the choice not to force and just move on. Only you can decide whether you will live trying to dominate everything or whether you will finally dominate yourself. And if this content made sense to you, subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and leave the like. This shows that this type of message deserves to reach more people. Share it with anyone who needs to hear it today. The Stoic journey is yours, but you don't have to walk alone. Let's go together.